business ethics. Have you ever done this subject? Have you studied this subject before? Do you have an idea what it is?
No, actually, this whole business topic, in fact, this whole course is very new for me. I was a science student, so I shifted from science to business.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So in Unit 3, we need to understand ethics in workplace relationships. And in 3.1, we're going to be talking about the role of a company acting as a moral agent and analyze the development of mechanisms of achieving employee involvement and empowerment. So basically, how do we, ethics make good relationships within the workplace? We're going to be talking about that basically. So ethical employees, they build trust in their workplace relationships. These people, these managers who basically act as a ethical employee, they help people to allow them to open up to them. They help their employees so they are able to share private information and feel more at ease with communicating with them. So these are the people who act as a moral agent. These are basically the managers or the CEOs or the directors in the organization. So areas of ethics, if we talk about, these can affect our trust, including honesty, fairness, and any rumors that are going on in the organization. Now coming towards 3.1, to assess the role of the company acting as a moral agent. So, over there, 1 second ago, we were talking about how managers act as a moral agent. Now, we're going to talk about how a company acts as a moral agent. So, a moral agent is anyone capable of making ethical decisions and putting them into action. Okay, so that the idea that an organization has moral agency, this basically came from, the US Supreme Court, and they made a decision that they have to, make the corporation or the organization, they have to treat the organization as a person, and they have to install several laws for it. So what happens is that after these laws, different laws came about moral agency that made the organization accountable to the predictable results of those actions. So, for example, if there is any stealing in the company or if there is any harassment in the company, so basically now the companies know that they are the moral agents and they have to take care of these basic things or basic rights that the employees have. In practical terms, this means your small business has a responsibility to the public to act ethically. Okay. So the first one is power to act. So the source of an organization's moral agency, it's like a collective power to act. So in other words, yeah, because your business is a small business, so we can say that it has small power. No, it has a responsibility to be ethical as well. So it's not like they can get away with with the big responsibilities. They can't. So, for example, we as a business, we have the power to act. So, for example, we could choose to pay like either lower wages to its workers, or your business. So this is that you're not completing your responsibility, you're giving the wage lower than the minimum wage. And the other thing what you can do is that maybe you can choose suppliers based on the environmentally sustainable practices. So I want to hire a supplier or I want to procure something from them. So I need to go for those suppliers who are practicing corporate social responsibility, who are, responsible for the society, for the environment, and following all the legal laws and regulations. Then we have effects. So all of your business decisions, whether they're ethical or not, they will affect the world, starting with your employees and your customers and extending that same thing to your larger community. So low wages will likely to result in low skilled or unhappy workforce or your labor force, and a poorly made or a dangerous product that could even harm your customer. So you have to monitor on the effects of short term and long term of your business decisions to ensure that the organization impacts the world in a positive way. So you need to take care of their effects, whether short term or long term. Then we have viability. So an organization's actions, they can affect its viability within its industry. For example, a company that supports environmentally friendly suppliers, it might not last long if its competitors choose low cost suppliers, right? So, like, if I'm going for an environmental friendly supplier, obviously that supplier would be expensive. But if my competitors are not choosing that, so obviously what will happen that they will get, uh, the raw material on a lower price, and I will get a raw material on a higher price. So obviously, they will be able to, have low cost of production, and they can have a more, more profit margin. So obviously, these are a few things and few compromises that as a business we have to take. Then we have responsibility. So in some sense, all members of an organization are responsible for the effects of initiatives. So, for example, top level managers, they often have access to information, and the low level employees do not. So they have to, bear in mind that the larger responsibility of the organization's decisions are with the top level management. So, as low level employees have less knowledge and power, they are less responsible, and the top management has more power and knowledge and everything, so they are more responsible for the organization's actions. Then we have legality. So, government regulations, control the behavior of business and protect the public from unethical practices to some extent. Like, you have to adhere to the legal liability and regulations, and they say that laws are, they tell us that you have to have more morals. You There should be more morality rather than self protection. So for example, if there is a used car dealership, and they might meet the minimum government requirements for like disclosing their vehicles history, but they may fail to reveal its true value to the potential buyer. So they are kind of hiding the the price, the cost, and everything. So to develop the reputation, the integrity, we have to follow all the ethical business practices. Then here is an example. It says, for instance, a 7-year-old bites her little brother, then lies about it to escape punishment, is exhibiting the traits of a moral agent. She knows what she did is wrong, therefore she makes it into the personhood club. However, a puppy who bites and excitedly tears up every shoe in sight does not. At first glance, this whole thing might seem cut and dry. So what is happening, that that person, that is a human being, that little girl is a is a human being, and she knows that what is right and wrong. That is the reason that she is hiding it. But it is the different for the dog, because obviously he is not a human. He doesn't know what he is or she is doing, what it is doing basically. Then, however, what about the severely and profoundly mentally handicapped man who bites his nurse every time she tries to feed him? Based on all observation, he has no concept that his biting is hurtful and wrong. Does this mean he's not a person? Just like the autonomy argument, the requirement of moral agency often gives rise to more questions than answers. So obviously now they have given as a example of a person who is, mentally disabled, and he doesn't know, like, you can say that he's like the dog now because his mind isn't working like a normal human brain. He doesn't know if he's biting the nurse, that is it hurting her or not. So this is what they're trying to say, that basically we are studying, moral agency and business ethics and everything. But there are times like these that we are unable to understand that what is right, what is wrong, what option should we opt for as a business. Now coming towards 3.2, we need to analyze the development of mechanisms for achieving employee involvement and empowerment. So it says, what is employee involvement? So, if you guys could pour in, what do you guys think? What is employee involvement, and what might be the benefits of having employee involvement in an organization?
This is basically like the employee engagement, you know, and um the more like employees are like engaged, the more like productive and the more like like m- motivated they would be.
Hmm. Yeah, good. That's good. Okay. So it says the term employee involvement means inclusion of the employee in the operation of the system. So whatever decisions you're making, so you have to include them in that. Obviously not the top, secrets and everything, but the day-to-day decisions that you are making. But it is the creation of the process, the tools and the means by which this is accomplished and is the topic of this discussion. The two principal objectives of employee involvement are as follows: to create, share, and make real for all employees a vision of the goals for the overall enterprise, as well as for each organizational unit. So we have different units like marketing, HR, supply chain, and so on. Every unit, every department, they have their own goals and aims for a short period of time. Obviously, in the long run, they have one goal, but for day to day goals, their targets, their goals are different. Then, to seek and share the knowledge possessed by individual employees in achieving that vision. So, now we have to make it clear to all the individual employees that what is their function, what is their task, what is their goal they have to achieve. And the basic thing would be that they have to achieve a big target for the organization. Obviously at the end it would be a big target that they have in their minds. But to achieve that big target or that long term target, they have to have make small steps. Okay, so okay, so it says that uh, employee, on the other hand, it says that employee empowerment or employee involvement, that does not just involve employees in business making process, but it also allows them to be part of the non managerial workforce to decide and act independently, and particularly in tasks related to their respective organizational goals. So, obviously, you're helping them to be involved in everything, but you're also helping them to make their decisions themselves. So obviously this would motivate them at the end. This would help them to, have more responsibility. They will feel more, kind of like, part of the organization. And they will be able to develop their own personalities. Then it says training workers empowers them to not only make positive contributions to the organization, but also make effective and appropriate autonomous decisions. That's the same thing that we talked about, that whenever they will feel, part of the organization, they will feel they have a responsibility and everything. So what will happen, that they will have, more autonomy on their decisions, at the business as well, at the company, and even further in their lives, whether it be personal or professional. Okay. We have completed unit 3. Are there any questions that you guys might have? Or we can continue?
No.
Okay.
Continue.
Okay. Moving on. So in unit 4, be able to assess a current ethical issue in a business. 4.1, research a current ethical issue affecting a selected business. Report on how the business could improve the ethics on their operations whilst meeting objectives and ensuring good employer or employee relationships, and design a suitable ethical code. Okay, so over here we have an article, be able to assess a current business issue. So we're able to assess a current ethical issue in the organization. So here are some ethical issues, like we have discrimination, we have harassment, we have unethical accounting. So, the companies change their, assets and liabilities. We have health and safety. We have discussed all these things. Abuse of leadership authority, nepotism and favoritism, privacy, and then we have how to, prevent all these things. So the first one is Enron. So anyone who has an idea, who knows what basically happened at Enron and what was the scandal?
Not me.
No.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So basically, what happened at Enron was that this was a very big company, and in 2001, what happened was that they used to, they did the accountancy fraud. So they used to change their numbers and they used to give false statements. So, for example, if there was an asset of, 2,000 rupees or maybe 20,000 rupees, so they would just add another zero to it to show that there is a lot of assets in the company. So they just kept adding zeros and making their, you know, um, assets and profits look big. And it seemed like that, okay, Enron is going into huge profits. But in reality, they were going in loss. So when, everything was found out, so what happened that the company had to dissolve and they were all over the news and it was pretty famous. And the people who had, invested in Enron, they had to lose a lot of money. So this is what happened with Enron. Then we have Fox News. Okay, so for this, it basically happened that, you know, uh, many people, especially women, came up to the CEO and they told them that we are being harassed. And, because of that, we are being fired. We aren't, getting promotions and everything. And Fox News, they didn't give any heed to them. So what those women did, they filed lawsuits against Fox News, and it was all over, the television and news that this is a famous company and they had done such a thing. So this is also, these are all examples of being unethical. So obviously it was their job to find out the problem and solve that. Okay. Then we have Tyson Foods, Richmond, and do we have more? Okay. So these two you guys can read on your own, and you guys can even find information about them. Okay. So what happened was that basically people had booked their flights, and when they got to the airport and everything, they were sitting in their plane and they were asked to uh, you know uh, certain passengers were asked to get off the flight. So obviously the passengers were like, in what is this behavior? You should have asked us, or told us about this before we came to the airport all the way and sat in the aeroplane and everything. So, many customers, they were like, we need an apology and everything. However, they did apologize, but obviously, many customers, their loyal customers, they had left the company, and they were like that they aren't following business ethics. So this is for United Airlines. Then we have Equifax. So over here, what was happening, that Equifax was actually, it was its website got hacked, and the information of their users went out to the hackers, and Equifax didn't tell for 2 months that our data has been stolen, and all your credit account numbers and everything is at stake. So it was, they didn't behave ethically. It was their right to tell the people that the hackers have got the information and everything, but they kept it as a secret for 2 months. So also from this we learned that we have to as our customers, they have a right on us, and we have a responsibility on them to tell them each and every information, whether it's being stolen data, whether it's being facing a loss. So this was the example of Enron that we discussed. Then we have uh, 4.2, report on how the business could improve the ethics of their operations whilst meeting objectives and ensuring good employer-employee relationship. Okay, so um, we saw on the article that I gave, that is mentioned on 4.1. This article, you can even go to that and you could see for solutions, that what are the solutions for handling the ethical dilemmas in the workplace. However, these 4 points that we're going to discuss is that how you as a manager are going to handle the situations. Those are like, in the article, they are like on a bigger, on a as a bigger picture, and they're more journalized. And these are that if you have to face a ethical dilemma, so what are you basically going to do? Okay, so how can I handle ethical dilemmas in the workplace? To be prepared to handle company ethical issues, you should try the following. So the first one is, decide what your ethics are before you start a job. So understand what your values are, your personal mission statement, your goals, in order to help you to know ahead of time that how you will behave in an ethical dilemma. So obviously, if you're working if you're working in your own country, you know what the ethical dilemmas could be normally. But if you go to a new country, to a foreign country, you don't mainly know that what is a diversity, how people are interact there, and there's so many cultural even differences as well that you might have to face. So before you're starting a job, you have to decide what your ethics are, and you can even ask when you're giving the interview that uh, these things are my ethics. Will I be able to follow them or not? Then we have communicate with your manager, the same thing that we just talked about. So management mainly should be, made aware of any areas that you are feeling ethically questionable. So you are able to talk to them, you are able to communicate with them. This can be done via email. You if you even have to, like, for example, you've started working there and now you face a dilemma which you didn't even thought. So what you can do is you could record the proof, you can record the actions, and you have to make sure that your manager, he or she knows the entire situation and how you feel about it. So you could tell them that, okay, this thing happened, and to be honest, I don't feel very comfortable. So this is what you can do. And if your manager is behaving unethically, you can send them an email and you can, express your feelings and talk to them that, okay, manager, these are some things that you do, and I have these concerns. So please, if you could kindly, rectify them or something like that. So meaning that you are allowed to talk to your managers. You are allowed to speak up in an organization if anything is going wrong, or if you feel that anything is, not going up to mark. Then we have work with HR if necessary. So sometimes management doesn't respond or react to you as an employee when you bring up an ethical dilemma at an office, right? So if this is the case, you could directly go to the human resource manager and you could work with them and you could tell them that this is a situation and how we can best handle the situation. So the point of telling you guys all these points are that obviously we work in organizations, or even if you're not working in an organization, in the future you will have to work. So you might know all these things. Plus, even if you guys start up your own businesses, so you guys as managers would have to be emotionally intelligent over there. You have to take care of your employees. That maybe they shouldn't be feeling these things, they shouldn't be feeling that they can't talk about their ethical dilemmas. Then we have number 4, that is to know when to get out. If you believe that the company is, still continuing to be in an ethical behavior, so it's up to you if you want to get out of the company. You could work to find another job that you feel with will uphold your ethical standards. And there is nothing wrong about leaving a job because you believe they are being unethical, because it can end up being good for you in the longer term. Right now you might feel that, okay, if I leave this job, will I get a new job or not? But in the longer term, for your sake, for your insanity, you have to leave that job. So if you're hoping to be, successful in a business, you need to understand that the best thing you can do for your employees and your customers is to practice the ethical behavior. You have to take business ethics seriously. Like, business ethics can be like a slippery slope, but it's best that you ensure that you know what your personal ethics are. So when you have conflict or challenges, you know exactly what to do. So this is for 4.3. Sorry, 4.2. Now we have to move on to 4.3. Design a suitable ethical code. So we have to design a suitable ethical code. So it says a code of ethics is a set of principles for employees to adhere to when conducting business to comply with company standards. So a business code of ethics is usually based on the core values of the business, or it outlines the company's mission statement, like how professionals could approach dilemmas and the standards to which they hold their employees accountable. So, an individual's code of ethics can include their beliefs, their values, and background. And for the company's business ethics, it would be their values, their mission statement, and how professionals perform in the business. So, while codes of ethics are unique to every individual, to every organization, they have to reflect an overall idea about what the general population consider right and wrong behavior, and then they have to have they have to act upon that. Okay, so now we can see that here are a number of steps that can help you to create a personal code of ethics for yourself. So what you can do is you can follow these steps. You can make an ethical code for yourself, and in the future, when you become an entrepreneur maybe someday, so then you will know that okay, this is my chart for my personal ethics, and this is my chart for my business ethics. So they should be aligned. So now that way you can be an emotionally intelligent manager who can help out people and a CEO. Okay, so the first one is to determine your purpose for writing your personal code of ethics. So what you can do is you can establish your personal reasons for developing the code. You may want to guide your behavior in day-to-day situations, or you may want to like serve as an inspiration to help you embody the kind of person you want to be. So this is on you that, okay, maybe if I write my personal code of ethics, I would write that, okay, I don't want to lie. I want to complete my 5 daily prayers. I want to, complete my homeworks for whatever I got and everything. So, meaning that I have to be disciplined and take care of time management. So, this is how you make a personal code of ethics, that what is right and what is wrong. Then, understand your individual reasons will help you shape your code of ethics, creating a set of principles tailored to your life, your beliefs, and your needs. So, this is how you're going to make that. And for example, if in the future I want to make my code of ethics for the business, I could say that, okay, I won't have, lying acceptable in my organization. I will give breaks to my, Muslim fellows for the 5 daily prayers. And I would want time management. I would want people to complete their goals on time. Then we have make a list of your traits. uh, what you could do is you could write down the traits you strongly believe represent you as a person. So, for example, it could be honesty, it could be kindness, it could be integrity, anything that you associate with your behavior, right? So, what you can do is you could ask yourself, uh, if people close to you would agree to your assessment. And you can ask your friends, your family, you can ask them that, okay, what do you think, what traits exist in me? So then you can create a more defined and honest code of ethics. So, and same when you have your organization, you go for entrepreneurship. So over there, you could also have these traits listed down that I expect, honesty from my employees, kindness from my employees. I expect them, expect integrity from my employees, as same that I am, as same as that I am as a CEO. Now, my employees, my managers under me have to follow all these traits as well. And if they do not, then they are breaking the rules of the ethical code of the business. Then we have consider your relationships. Imagine individual relationships you have with others and determine what you would like to change about each one. So, if you work closely with others, you can determine the quality of relationship you allow to create a statement for how you want to like maintain or improve them. So you can see that, okay, if I like to work as an individual, if I like to work in a team, okay, if I am working in a team, how will I manage those people? If I like to work as an individual, but I have to now work in a team, now what I'm going to do? So these are all the dilemmas that we have to go through. And so what you have to do is you have to consider them with ethics, and you have to be moral. Then we have create a set of statements to follow. So you can develop a list of statements that can serve as a guide for what sorts of actions you will take to meet your own expectations. You could incorporate your current traits as well as the as well as the traits that you want other people to be there. So, if you incorporate all these traits in yourself, and you want these traits to be in other people as well, and what you can do is you can also say that, okay, I haven't achieved this trait, but I want to achieve this trait. So I'm going to write that too in the statement as well. So it's written there. You can see it on day-to-day basis, and obviously it will remind you to uh, develop that trait in your personality. Then we have develop guidelines. So you have to create clear, guidelines or rules that you intend to follow when you are interacting with other people on day-to-day basis. So this might be for your personal statement as well, and for your business statement as well. So over there you will be creating guidelines for your employees, for your managers, how they have to deal with each other. You might also include, personal statements that can serve you to remind you of the importance you place on applying your personal code of ethics in your life. So this is all for business ethics, and your syllabus is complete. Are there any questions?
No.
Okay, great.